At 2 years old, they found me dead on the floor because I drank turpentine. My dad rushed me to the hospital, and basically they're sitting there watching my dad with this lifeless body in his arms, and they basically said, have a seat, we'll grab a doctor, and he's freaking out, of course. And they told him, believe it or not, to have patience while they went and found a doctor. And my dad obviously didn't listen, kicked in the door, found somebody, freaked out, literally forced them to start trying to help me because in their minds I was done, and
Wow.
obviously came back to life. Now, that's why I don't believe in patience.
Welcome to another episode of Negotiate Your Best Life. I'm Rebecca Zung, and I'm really, really excited today to have Brad Lee with me. He went from dropping out of high school and having a childhood that had a lot of turmoil to building a multi-million-dollar global tech company, Lightspeed VT, working with some of the biggest leaders in the world, including Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Grant Cardone, some household names that you all know. He's been featured in Forbes, Huffington Post, everywhere you know. He has one of the biggest top-rated podcasts on the planet, Dropping Bombs, which I've been fortunate enough to be featured on myself. How did he do this? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. How does he do it? What's his mindset? How can you make that power shift? We're going to be talking about that today. So thank you, Brad Lee, for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, Rebecca.
Yeah, so let's dive in. Let's talk about your background. Where did you get started? And your childhood. Let's talk about that first.
Okay, well, I'll just follow your questioning. We can go back all the way to, as far as I can remember anyway. Where would you like to begin?
Well, you grew up where?
I grew up in a place called Cottage Grove, Oregon, which is the Pacific Northwest. Born into I would say, blue collar family.
Okay, and your parents got divorced when you were pretty young.
Yeah, my mom and dad got divorced when I was like 1.5 or 2. Then my dad split, so my mom took most of the kids, which at that time there were 5. So 4 of us went to a foster home, and she kept my little brother Tony, which was the youngest of the babies, so like just born. The rest of us got put in a foster home, and then my grandmother, who happens to be Spanish, so thank God, they're big into family, obviously, and their culture, is real familial, if you will. So she told my dad, you better go get your kids right now. So my dad fortunately listened to her, came and got us, and I went to live with my dad from 2 years old on. Now, at 2 years old, they found me dead on the floor because I drank turpentine. My dad rushed me to the hospital, and basically they're sitting there watching my dad with this lifeless body in his arms, and they basically said, have a seat, we'll grab a doctor, and he's freaking out, of course. And they told him, believe it or not, to have patience while they went and found a doctor. And my dad obviously didn't listen, kicked in the door, found somebody, freaked out, literally forced them to start trying to help me because in their minds I was done, and
Wow.
obviously came back to life. Now, that's why I don't believe in patience. Like most people will tell you, patience is a virtue. Well, I believe you should have patience in a lot of cases. If a girl's telling you, hey, let me slip into something more comfortable, by all means, have patience. But when it comes to building your dreams, when it comes to getting what you want in life, I don't think you should have patience. I think you should do the opposite. I think you should get upset. I think you should get intensified. I think you should increase your actions, not lower your target.
Love that. Love that. Look at him dropping bombs already. We're only 2 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
But I don't have the special sound effect like you do.
Yeah, growing up till about the age of 16, I was, in and out of trouble here and there. I found out at 6 years old I was an incredible salesperson, though. I went door to door selling candy bars for my school.
Oh, this is a really good story. Tell this story. This is I love this story.
Well, schools when you're young have you go work for them for free, by the way, but they call it fundraising. So they gave us the world finest chocolates. I brought them home. I'm supposed to sell them to my friends and family and, bring back the ones I don't sell. So I went home and my brothers ate a few, which, they didn't pay for. So like now I'm in debt. And I realized that my family, being blue collar like they were, they're not necessarily going to buy a million candy bars and get me out of debt. So I knew I had to just go talk to neighbors and strangers. So I literally left my house and started knocking on doors throughout the neighborhood. And very quickly, I realized that I needed to develop some sort of spiel, some sort of, you know, something to say. So when they I knocked on the door, and when they would answer it, I'd hold the box of candy bars behind my back and I would ask them if they knew the phone number to a good roof repairman. And they'd look at me confused and say, "What?" And I'd say, "Do you have the phone number to a good roof repairman?" And I was all serious about it. And then I'd whip the box out and say, "Because when you taste one of these, you're going to go through your roof." And they started buying box after box after box after box. And I literally sold out the entire school of all the candy bars they had ordered that year. I think still to this day, it set a record. They've never sold all the candy bars that were ordered. They always sent the ones that didn't sell back. But the school gave me all the candy bars the other kids couldn't sell. And I was out in the field just blasting them out one.
Oh my God, that is just the best story of all time.
That's when I
So funny.
realized I was a salesperson naturally,
Yeah, like already had like the charisma and the line. You knew to start with the punchline somehow.
Well, that's where I learned humor. People want to feel good, especially when they're buying things. So you get somebody laughing and you're much more likely to sell them something. But I didn't stay in that zone. I didn't realize, anything other than I sold more candy bars to everybody and everyone treated me like a king for a minute. As I approached, 15, 16, 17 years old, people were telling me to get a real job. You need a real job. You can't just keep hanging around and being a goofball. So I decided to find a real job, which happened to be in the Forest Service. It was to fight forest fires.
But you skipped over something here because you dropped out of school in 11th grade.
16 years old, I dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
My dad kicked me out for not mowing the lawn.
Right.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I didn't mow the lawn like I was supposed to. I came home. My dad was a little drunk. He was he was usually drunk. The question was he mad drunk or happy drunk? But he was drunk and he wasn't happy drunk. So he asked me why I didn't mow the lawn. I said, I forgot. And he looked at me and he said, "It's time you hit the road." And so I literally had to pack a bag and leave my house and stay with friends. Everyone always says like, "Oh, poor Brad." Listen, I was 16, man. I didn't want parental supervision. I wanted to be out on my own. That wasn't a bummer. That was a freaking blessing. Like I loved it. It was now I'm free. I get to decide. I get to choose what I do. And then I wanted to be a movie star. So I dropped out of school to go to Hollywood like a fool. But we look now and guess what? Turns out I was right. Number one, I haven't been stopped because I didn't have a diploma. Number two, I was testing in college levels in high school. It wasn't like I was stupid. I just wasn't interested. There's a difference. So again, I was a smart kid. When I wanted to get straight A's, I would. Matter of fact, one time, I think it was 7th or 8th grade, my dad said he'll give me $100 for every A I get. I brought home 7 straight A's and he didn't pay me. He took the report card and he says, "Now I know you can do it. If you don't do it now, you're in trouble." "Well, where's my $100? I'm not paying you." Period. Just yank the rug out from underneath me. And so normally I was a C and D student, but I could get straight A's if I wanted. So just stressing that, even though I quit high school, doesn't make me stupid. I wasn't stupid for sure, but I did quit and I went out to, tackle the world.
So did you move to LA at that point or did you stay in Oregon
Well, I went down there to, try out acting and, do my Hollywood dream and ended up, homeless on the beach and, didn't work out too well because I, wasn't very smart in that regard.
Okay. I mean, this is an amazing story. I mean, this is incredible.
But I also gave up. You see, if I didn't give up, I would be a movie star right now. I know that for sure. But I did give up. Why? Because I didn't like being broke, man. I didn't like struggling. So I went back, but
Okay.
ultimately now everybody's giving me advice. I was homeless in LA, and it's time to get a real job, quit trying to be a movie star and all this crap. So I took their advice and I went and got a real job, and I applied with the Forest Service, and I got a job where I thought was going to be fighting forest fires. So I ran around bragging to everybody that I'm going to be a firefighter. I pictured myself in a, flannel shirt, with an axe over my shoulder and a wolf by my side. And, I was going to be up there saving eagle eggs and shit like that. So I'm thinking of myself all heroic and badass. And the first day on the job, I get there and they tell me to pick up this big bag of water, put it on my back, and go find stumps that are smoldering from the fire and squirt them so they don't reignite the fire and cause the real firefighters to have to come back and put it out again because they've already been through here. So in other words, I'm in the back with a bag of water. It's called a piss bag. So I went from thinking I'm going to be freaking Paul Bunyan hero, and turns out, hey, you're the piss bag operator, my boy. Get on out there and go. So I had to walk up and down hills, get poked in the eye, breathe in ash, and it was terrible. And I got a little patch of poison oak on my arm. So I went into the boss and I said, hey, look, I got a little poison oak. I'm not gonna be able to come in for a few days. I don't want it to spread. And he opened up his shirt and showed me that his entire body was covered in poison oak. He said, this is just part of the job, man. Now get on out there and go to work. I said, excuse me? He said, it's part of the job, Brad. You're gonna get poison oak if you're working up here.
Oh,
There's a lot of people that want your job. So either get back to work or quit. So I quit.
yeah.
Yeah, I said, I'm not doing that. And so the next day I opened up the newspaper because I still needed a job, and I saw a job for selling cars. And I thought to myself, well, dude, I can sell. Let me go try and sell cars. So I went in there, and on my first day, instead of having to pick up a big 50-pound bag of water, they gave me a free car to drive. Trans Am. As a matter of fact, they let me pick out any car I wanted to drive. It was the most amazing thing ever. They called them demos. And so it wasn't rocket science to figure out these guys want me to, work hard, go up and down mountains, sweat my ass off, get home beat up, poked in the eye, and breathing in ash. These guys want me to have, a midnight black, Trans Am with T-tops. Like,
I was going to say, did it have a T-top? Because I remember those.
oh, they had T-tops. Dude, I'm telling you, it was an easy choice to make. So I dropped into there. And then I started outselling everybody. Because they were waiting for customers. I was going to get customers, and I was excited. And, to me, it was like, such a contrast that I so appreciated the opportunity to stand around in a suit, smell good, and sell things and make way more money than the laborers in the forest were doing anyway. So that's where I got into sales, and I've been there ever since. And when people ask me what do you, attribute to your success, the ability to sell, close, and persuade people. I've always done that, and it's always served me, and it is the only reason I am where I am today.
Yeah.
Other than maybe God, because again, I believe a lot of people have an angel that protects them. I was assigned 4, front, back, and both sides. Like, baby, I am the luckiest guy on earth, and interestingly enough, I'm willing to roll the dice. And when you put those combinations together, it's murder.
Oh, I love that. I think though that there's a moment, and I think for me that you have to decide that you're going to be successful.
100%.
And I know for me, I got married at 19, and then I had 3 kids by the time I was 22, and I graduated second in my class from high school. I'm half Chinese and half German. So I always joke, I have no fun genes whatsoever. It's all like, and so, but then my version of the dropping out of high school at 16 or whatever, like you did, was to drop out of college and have 3 kids by the time I was 22. And, so that was my hard thing. And then I had to go back to finish college and finish law school. And it was like, that was the hard thing for me. And so, but then after that, I had all these student loans because I had to, I was like massively in debt. And I just remember trying to pay for my kids summer camp, because even as a new lawyer, you're not making very much money. And I remember trying to pay, and then I got married again and I had a fourth child, right? And I remember trying to pay for summer camp, and it was such a hardship. And I remember that one summer, writing that check for summer camp, going, this is the last year that it is a hardship for me to pay for summer camp. That's it. After this, I'm making money, like real money. That's it. And I by the next year, because I started my law practice after that and went out on my own. And by the next summer, I was making 7 figures. And it was like I just knew it was like a shift in my mind. You just make a decision. And I feel like there's a moment you decide, right? There's a shift. And I was wondering if you have that, if you had that, or if you remember if you had that.
Well, yes, but it was from the very beginning. Like when I was in first grade, we were all lined up in the front of the class and they were asking everybody what we wanted to be when we grew up. And my answer was rich. So like even from a little tiny kid, I knew I wanted to be rich. I knew I wanted to be successful. And again, to me, man, the word successful is so subjective because I know a guy that goes out every night here in Las Vegas and prowls the casinos and preys on women. Now, and again, some people say the women prey on him, but at the end of the day, he goes out and tries to get laid every single night.
Right.
He's single, obviously. And he thinks that's a success. If he goes out and gets a girl and takes her home, that's successful. Well, in my mind, that's not successful. Number one, it's dangerous. Number two, it's just, it's not, to me, you shouldn't be out being promiscuous. Why? It's stupid. So to me, that's not success. I know somebody that thinks, they're making, $1 million a year, so they're successful, but they're missing their kids. They don't spend any time with their family. They're literally missing their child, their childhood.
Right.
Their children are growing up around them and they're missing it. So again, to me, that's not necessarily successful. It's okay to be in that situation. I've been there. But truly, what does success look like? Well, I have my opinion. You'll have your opinion. People that are listening to this have their opinion. But everybody's looking for a key to success when in reality, it's a combination. It's a combination lock. It's not a key at all. It's a combination and everyone has their own. So if I give you my combination and you run out and try to do it because you think, man, that sounds like success to me too. And you get up there and you realize this isn't success. Well, it's because you didn't take the time to really figure out what success looks like to you. So when I say success, I'm talking in general. Okay. Rich, successful, financially. You may be rich and successful financially, but you are not successful in your marriage. You're not successful in your relationships. You're not successful in your physical appearance. Like you're out of shape, you're unhealthy, you have no friends, you're miserable, you're depressed, but you make a lot of money. Is that success? I don't think so.
I agree with you, but I think that you also have to be really specific in your vision, and you have to be, and you have to decide. You still have to decide what it's going to be, and you have to be.
Rebecca, that we agree on. I've said a million times, the choices you make determine the road you take, and life boils down to a choice. You're choosing to be where you are right now. People can blame the president and their situation and, their upbringing and all that, but they're literally choosing everything in their life. So now there's always an exception, by the way. Someone could be listening to this and say, I didn't choose to get cancer. I understand things happen, but you're choosing how to react to it.
Agree.
So you're making a choice one way or the other. So the question is do people understand that life is simply a choice? And you're right. There was a time that, I've made decisions. I used to drink a lot. I used to freaking go out specifically to get drunk and party. And at one point, I just decided I'm not going to do that anymore. And so I decided not to. I chose not to.
So I want to how do you shift your mindset to become that massive success? How do you become, I mean, I've listened to other podcasts where you talked about how you could tell anybody how to make $500,000 or more, like that
Yeah,
you could teach somebody how to do that.
for sure.
How, say that to somebody who feels like, "Ah, but I'm stuck in this place. I can't do that." What would you say to that person?
I would say to them, that's the reason you can't, because number one, it boils down to three things: mindset, skill set, and habits. So right now you're displaying that you have a mindset issue. I can't, boo hoo, but that's a mindset issue. So now I got to build a little confidence in you and show you that you can. And dude, it's not very difficult. If you can talk to some people for a little bit of time, you can get them to understand that, you know what, they're a little bit more valuable than they think they are. So we fix your mindset. Then we start to teach you sales, closing, and persuasion to give you the skill sets necessary to succeed. And right now, communications, the ability to sell, close, and persuade, marketing, like there's certain skill sets that if anyone possesses, it's impossible for them not to make $500,000. So we work on your skill sets. And then coincidentally, as of lately, you said I built a company. I've actually got now, numerous companies. And I started those companies because I was teaching people how to sell, close, persuade, get confident. And then they'd need a job. They'd need something to sell. Now that you've taught me to sell, what do I sell? So I said, well, listen, I'll even start the company that you can go work for and sell. So now it's like, dude, if you ain't making $300,000 to $500,000 a year, come to me. I'll fix your mindset. I'll give you the skill set, and I'll give you the job. And then the third one is your habits. I'll teach you the habits of the ultra successful. We've all got habits. What are the habits of the ultra successful? Because if you emulate their habits, more than likely you'll emulate their results. Habits are what you constantly do over and over and over again. If you look at somebody that's unhealthy, you look at their habits, they have unhealthy habits. If you look at somebody broke, look at their habits. They've got unhealthy habits. They've got poor mindset. They're thinking in limitations. They're worried about losing money they don't have. You talk to someone who's broke, they only have a couple $1,000s in the bank, and they're holding on to that couple $1,000s like it's going to save their life. When in reality, holding on to it's what's keeping them broke. Like, use that money. Money is a tool to be used, but broke mindsets, they think that's their survival, when it isn't. Their survival is using it to get more of it. So what happens is people start companies, they start to get a little success, right? They hit the 7-figure mark, and then they are literally scared now of losing it. They remember what it was like to be broke. They remember what it was like to struggle. And by all means, they will never do that again, even if it means staying small. As long as it's comfortable, I'm good. Well, again, they made a decision to stay small, because if you look at what happened, they started out with an abundant mindset. Anything's possible. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I've made a decision. I'm going to succeed. Boom. They start to succeed. Now their mindset starts to shift back to scarcity and limited, because now they're scared of loss. And when you're scared of losing, that's limitations. That's scarcity. I'm not afraid of being broke, because I know there's millions and billions of dollars out there, and I know that I can earn it any day of the week. I'm not afraid of going broke. Why? Because I was already broke. I might be broke again. Who cares? I'll still get paid again. I'm always going to be in an abundant mindset, because I realize there is an abundance out there. Money is not limited. Only the people willing to get it are. Like, I'm willing to go get paid. If I lost everything because I made a mistake, it doesn't mean that I can't do it again. It just means that I made a mistake to learn from, and now I'll do it again. And yes, it's a pain in the butt, but everything is a pain in the butt. I tell people all the time, Rebecca, it is a bitch being broke, and it's a bitch to get rich. So pick your bitch, because at the end of the day, dude, it's going to be hard either way. Why would you allow it to be hard and then end up broke? Why not make it hard and end up rich? Because yes, being rich is difficult, but so is being broke. So what are you trying to do? Think, man. It's a choice. That's why I keep saying, like you're preaching to the choir. It boils down to a choice. People can choose to be rich. I teach a technique to people all the time that blows their mind because it's so effective. They don't understand how it works. Take a piece of paper. Write down everything on that piece of paper that you do not want in your life. You are sick of it. You don't want it anymore. And then simply stop tolerating everything on that list. Do not tolerate any of it. And I guarantee you, every single one of them will go away. The reason you're getting what you're getting is because you're tolerating it. You're tolerating your bad marriage. You're tolerating your low income. You're tolerating your overweightness. You're tolerating people treating you like shit. You're tolerating everything that you're getting, and that's why you're getting it. Stop tolerating it, and you'll stop getting it. I'm telling you, it's that easy. Just write it down and watch. Now, not tolerating it is difficult. Yes, it is. I didn't say it's easy. It's simple. It's not necessarily easy to start losing weight, to start working out, to start being consistent, to start getting through the uncomfortable, phase of doing the right thing. But everybody knows the right thing. People pay me money to talk to me for an hour. And my first opening line every time is, so what was so important? You gave me $6,000 for an hour of my time on a Zoom call to pick my brain. What's so important? And they start to tell me things. And it always boils back down to the basic things. How's your mindset? How's your skill set? How's your habits? And we always zero in on them. Well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, and this is what I wish, and this is what I want, and this is why I can't have it. And that's your mindset, son. You're negative, you're limited, you're scarce, you're scared, you're depressed. All those are negative. We need to fix those, and you'll be fine. And
so what's the first thing you would tell somebody about how to fix their mindset?
Well, I mean, again, it takes a little bit of work. You have to go ultimately, recreate a relationship with yourself. You have to go find worth in you. A lot of people want to raise their net worth, but in order to do that, you have to raise your self-worth. And if you raise your self-worth, which is much easier, your net worth comes with it. See what I'm saying?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So right now, if someone called and offered me a job for $20 an hour, I'd say, no, thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm worth more than $20 an hour. Some people don't believe they're worth more than $20 an hour because right now they're getting $9 an hour and somebody's convinced them that $20 an hour is a good wage. And I'm here to tell you, they're lying to you. $20 an hour is not going to get you very far. Okay. $200 an hour. You could offer me $200 an hour and I'd say no to your employment. Because it's not enough. It's not enough. I'm worth more than that. I solve bigger problems than that. Okay. So again.
So for people that are listening, what's something that they could do every day right now to start fixing their mindset?
Well, again, it's not something you do overnight, but the first thing I would do again is fix their value systems, their worth. So the first thing I'd do is, just like if I were trying to repair any relationship, I would forgive myself for all the nonsense. I'd wipe the slate clean and literally forgive myself for anything I've done in the past, any mistake I've ever made. I'm going to forgive myself, period. Now I have a clean slate. I'm brand new again. I'm reborn, if you will. And I'm going to commit to do what I say I'm going to do. I'm going to realize that it's massively important to do what I say I'm going to do. So I'll be very careful with what I agree to. I won't say yes so easily anymore. I won't commit so easily anymore. Why? Because I do what I say I'm going to do. And the only way that I'm going to freaking commit is if I agree to do it. So again, you commit to do what you say you're going to do. Then number 3, you start racking up the wins. Because confidence is really just the memory of winning. So if you win a lot, right, you're going to get more confident doing whatever it is you're doing. So I, believe it or not, create wins to happen all day, every day. So all day long, I'm winning. I'm winning when I wake up. I'm winning, based on what I eat. I'm winning when I take a drink of water. I'm
Hmm.
winning all damn day, Rebecca. And when you win all day long and you're conscious of winning, man, you win at everything. You're winning all day long. You start to, believe it or not, feel like a winner.
It's such great advice. So,
Hey, you want the rest of them real quick?
yeah, please.
Okay, so you start to feel like a winner, you rack up those wins. And then what happens, you start sitting a little taller and your chin gets a little higher and you start to actually feel like you deserve more. But anytime you think and act like you deserve more, there's going to be people telling you that you're out of your mind. Why do you think you deserve all this? Who are you to demand such things? Why are you being entitled? When in reality, you're not entitled. You just think you deserve more. And by the way, I think I deserve more than I'm getting. I do. You need to also. Why do you deserve more? I'll tell you a million reasons why I deserve more. See, there's the confidence. There's the self-value that you need. So again, you get it by racking up the wins on a regular basis. Every day you need to be winning. And here's the cool part. You get to decide what a win is. I say taking a drink of water as opposed to a soda is a win. So when I drink water, boom, mentally, I'm like, dude, I'm a winner. When I go work out, I'm a winner. When I make one extra phone call, I'm a winner. When I close a deal, I'm a winner. When I lose a deal and realize that I learned why I lost the deal, I'm up. That's a win. So I'm winning constantly and intentionally all day long, which makes me feel like a winner. Then people start telling me that I'm not. Well, that's step 4. You have to get rid of all the negativity. You have to protect what goes in these 2 ears, including what you put in there, because what you put in there grows. So if you allow crap to go in, crap's going to grow. You plant corn, up comes corn. You plant wheat, up comes wheat. This is your garden. You allow all this crap into your head, and now you wonder why your head's full of crap. So stop allowing this negativity. Stop reading the headlines. Stop listening to the hate. Stop doing it to yourself, which is the biggest problem. Most people's self-talk is terrible. So you stop all the negativity. Again, easier said than done, but that's what you do. You stop the negativity, and then you map out and visualize with specificity, just like you said, exactly where you want to go in life, exactly what success looks like. And then you simply ask yourself a question every day, because it boils down to choices. Every day, once you know exactly where you're going, every decision you make, you simply say, does this move me towards that or away from that? Because every decision you make is going to move you towards that or away from that. So that's your compass now. Now you have a compass every single day. Does it move me towards or away, towards or away? And you'll soon realize all the decisions you used to make were stupid, mindless, as opposed to does it move me towards or away? And you start to realize, and not all of them, because sometimes we instinctively know we're doing wrong, but you start to be conscious and you start to make better choices. And then you make better choices, and what happens? You start to get better payoff. And now you start earning more and being more and having better relationships, and all the things you're doing are now starting to literally come to fruition. And then I ask for one other thing. Seek new information on a regular basis, because the reason you're getting what you're getting is because you're doing what you're doing. So if you want to change what you're doing, a lot of people can temporarily change it, but to permanently change what you're doing, you need to change your beliefs, because the belief system is why you do what you do. So in order to change what you do permanently, you got to change what you believe. And the only way to change what you believe is to get new information. If you don't get any new information, it is impossible to change your beliefs. It's impossible. Think about it. The only way to change your beliefs is to get new information. Like if you tell a kid when he's growing up that fire doesn't burn you, fire's not hot. The kid might believe you until they stick their hand in the fire. And as soon as they do, they get new information, don't they? And that new information stops them from believing you anymore. Even though you're their parent and they love you, they're not believing you. Why? Because this new information just taught me differently. So new information is what allows you to change your beliefs, and you must change your beliefs to change your behaviors. And you must change your behavior to change your results. So it's common sense if you think about it. So just make sure that every single day you're seeking new information to become brighter, to become more intelligent. And ultimately, it causes you to think. And when we think, believe it or not, magic happens. So we need to think more. We need to think more of ourselves. We need to think more of possibility. We need to be hopeful. We need to be abundant. And that's what causes it. So those are the 6. I call them the sacred 6, because that will literally cause anybody to become a lot more confident and to develop value for themselves. And again, it's terrible out there that a lot of people don't understand they're in the trap they're in because they don't think they deserve any more. They don't think they deserve any better.
Such gold right there. Absolute gold. That's the gold that I wanted right there. Because what he just explained is how you can literally reprogram your brain. Your brain is just a CPU that was programmed, but without you even knowing it. It just, you were at the effect of your growing up, of your trauma, of all the stuff that happened to you without you even realizing it. What you guys don't even see is that it just happened. But it can be reprogrammed.
100%.
You have a choice. And your brain is not wired for success. It was wired for survival. But you have a choice to rewire it. It literally can be rewired. And you can become somebody else at your decision. You can just decide to do that. And that's what he's talking about. And then understanding that you can choose an abundance mentality and not be in scarcity mode, because the root of the word scarcity is the same as scared, being in that fear mentality.
Let me give you a hack. Pro tip. Because we're wired to survive, you just said it, we're wired to survive, not to succeed. But in reality, if you attach survival to success, your brain will be pre-wired to succeed. You just have to tie survival to success. And I've done that ever since I was little. I must be successful. I have to be successful. If I'm not successful, I'm going to die. There is no other choice in the matter. If I don't succeed, I'll die. And if you really believe that, I promise you, you'll be wired to succeed. Because you are correct. Your brain is wired to survive. You just have to attach survival to success. If you don't succeed, you're going to die. Just convince yourself of that. And I guarantee you success, because you're right. Your brain is wired to survive, but you don't connect survival and success. You connect survival with living and breathing. You connect survival with, evading a scary situation, risk, right? Dude, risk is opportunity. Everybody's running from risk when in reality, that's where the opportunity is.
Right.
Why are you so afraid? You're so afraid of going to nothing when you're nothing now. You're afraid of being what you are now? That makes no sense to me. You already are nothing. You want to be something. So you have to literally risk your current life to get your new one.
And I think the difference also is between most people just think, I can't do it. I can't do it. And a really successful person will say, now, how can I? They just ask how. There's a way. You just figure out a way, right? They ask the how. And so I think that this is really, really important to listen to what he's saying, visualize, be really, really specific, and then just decide that you're going to do it and get out of the victim mentality, get out of the, I can't do it. Because, what I always say is, do you want to be right about that? Or do you want the life that you want? Because you can be right about that. You can be right about I can't have it. They always get what they want. Life isn't fair. Or you can have it be different.
Wish you had a bomb button. I'd be dropping it. Because again, it's all excuses. If someone's getting offended by what I'm saying, they just said I was nothing. Who does he think he is? Listen, I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm trying to, I'm talking about me when I'm talking, because this is what I was doing. I don't come out on stages when I do keynotes and pretend that I'm better than everybody in the audience. Sometimes I do know that I'm ahead of everybody in the audience. So again, it's like, don't think people are better than you. Just recognize they're ahead of you. And if they're ahead of you and you want to be where they are, well, then why don't you like stop assuming and hating and listening to the masses? Because again, the masses aren't wealthy. The masses aren't rich. The masses aren't successful. We know that. That's why they're called the 1%. Most people aren't successful, supposedly. So quit listening to everybody. Isn't that common sense? If everybody's not successful, why would you listen to everybody? Well, everybody says this and everybody says that. Quit listening to everybody. Listen to the people you want to be like. Listen to the people you want to emulate. If you want to get anything you want in life, it's very simple. First thing, you got to figure out what it is that you want, and that's the hardest part. Most people think that's the easy part, but that's the hard part, knowing what you want. Like, think about it, man. Spend some time and really think about it. And then once you realize or choose what it is that you want, the second part, which is find out how to get it, that's the easy part. All you do is find someone that's already done it. That's already got it. They already possess what it is you want. And by the way, there's a bunch of them out there. Someone goes, well, no one's ever done anything that I want to do. Well, I can't teach you how to be, world changing, record breaking, because I'm not a world changing, record breaking dude. I'm just showing you how to be successful financially and get a pretty, I would say, I like my life. In other words, like people always ask, Brad, you work a lot. You don't go on vacations. Number one, I don't need to go on a vacation. Like, my life is a vacation to me. So you figure out who's already done it. And then you do what they did. You emulate what they did, because like action causes like result. That's a scientific fact. So it's pretty much an easy thing to do. You figure out what you want, then you find someone who's got it, and then you do what they did. Simple. Now, when someone says I can't, you were saying, that's a mindset issue. When somebody says I don't know how, that's a skill set issue. When somebody says, I don't do it, that's a habits. So I'm telling you, folks, if you're listening to this and you want to narrow it down to the simplest form, mindset, skill set, habits. You either have a mindset issue because you don't believe it's possible, you're scarce, you're limited, you got to change that. It's possible. No, I don't think it's possible. That's your problem. Okay, it is possible. So that's your mindset. Don't worry about the rest of them until your mindset's in the right place. If your mindset's in the right place, now look at your skill set. Are you any good at anything? Tell the truth, man. Are you good at something? Because the answer may be no, I'm not very good at anything. Get good at something. Well, what should I get good at? Anything you enjoy, preferably. Doesn't have to be, but preferably get good. How do you get good? Doing something over and over, studying it, being obsessed by it, practice, drill, rehearse. You can get good at anything. So you get good at something. Those are your skill sets. If your skill sets are on point, and your mindset's on point, but you're not actually doing anything consistently, your habits are out of whack, you probably won't be successful. But if you got your mindset right, and you got your skill sets right, and you got your habits right, dude, nobody's stopping you from anything you want to achieve. Nobody. If you got those three things in check, dude, you're going to plow through any obstacles and any challenges. And you'll actually be happy you're getting challenges, because challenges, if you really think about it, are what strengthen us. So when people pray that there's no challenges and there's no opposition, they're just naive, because what they're praying for is to stay weak and small. You want challenges and opposition. You want adversity. It strengthens you. It brings you where you're going. I always say, listen, I may be wrong. We'll know when we die. But I always say, God literally weeds out the undeserving with difficulty. So it's like, oh, you want something? Here, let me throw a little difficulty your way. If that stops you, you don't deserve what it is you wanted. And once you realize that, difficulty is now a test. Difficulty is now a ticket to the movie. So now when it's difficult, what do you start thinking in your mind? If you're looking at it like that, you're excited. You're excited to have a little difficulty. Why? I'm being strengthened. I'm being tested. This is the ticket to get in. This is the chance I've been waiting for. If everything's easy in your life, well, then you're probably not being tested, and you're probably not going anywhere either. So just remember that. Anytime you guys have adversity, smile in the face of adversity. And by the way, if you read the Bible ever, it says in the Bible, like more often than anything else, I believe, is do not fear. Don't be afraid. Why is
Mm,
everybody so damn afraid?
I love that. Ah, I love that. Do you read the Bible every day, or is that something you do?
No, I read it cover to cover a couple times back in the day. Now, you know, I don't.
All right. So what is something that you do every day without fail?
Wake up with gratitude.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
this is another hack, Rebecca. I call it the $1 million morning because I use $1 million to make the point. I tell people, hey, what if I just gave you $1 million? Like seriously, even to successful people, Rebecca, you're very successful. But if I seriously said, hey, Rebecca, I love this interview. I want to give you $1 million cash. How would that make you feel? Like just think in your mind, like, dude, you get a little bit excited, you get a little giddy. You know, if you have millions and millions, it's not as impactful. But if you're an average person, you get $1 million, you think your whole life changed. You are so grateful. You're relieved. You're happy. Nobody can just come around with these stupid little problems anymore and bother you. Why? Because, dude, your freaking life's changed. So everyone would agree, $1 million given to you is massive. You're like, oh my God, I'd be so grateful and thankful, and I wouldn't be complaining, and I'd just be so happy. Well, you wouldn't take $1 million over waking up in the morning. So literally, you value waking up more than you do $1 million because you wouldn't exchange it, would you? If I said I'll give you $1 million, I'll give you 10 million, Rebecca, but today's your last day. Would you do it?
No,
Okay, so what you're agreeing to and recognizing is that waking up tomorrow morning is worth more to you than $10 million cash.
right. Of
Then
course.
why aren't you acting like it?
Yeah, I
And I'm not
actually,
talking about you. I'm talking
yeah,
about the listener. The
yeah,
listener listening to this, why aren't you acting like it? We don't act as grateful for waking up. Why? Because we're taking it for granted. So when you say, what do I do every day without fail? Is I am grateful for another opportunity. I am filled with gratitude the second my eyes open every day,
yeah.
because one day they won't.
Yes. Amen to that. And so I definitely, I think that's a great place for us to start to wrap up here, because I absolutely every morning I actually write down 5 things that I'm grateful for every morning. I got that from Bob Proctor when I interviewed him, who was absolutely one of the best interviews I ever did. I actually got off the interview and he coached me for an hour after, and he told me I should be charging $10,000 for an hour. He's like, nobody else on the planet is doing what you're doing. He was one of the most generous people on the planet, Bob Proctor. I absolutely loved him. But one of the things that he told me to do was write down 5 things that I'm grateful for every single morning. And ever since that interview, I have been doing that because of him. He was really one of the most impactful interviews that I ever did. And so I do have to say, um, that is something that I do still highly recommend to everybody to do. First thing in the morning is be grateful.
Well, we can't argue with that. If you wake up with gratitude, it shifts your perspective and puts everything in a place of opportunity. Because when you wake up and realize that you're just incredibly lucky to get another day, well, now you get to wake up. You get to go to the gym. You get to pick up the kids. You get to go to work. Everything now becomes an opportunity rather than a problem.
Yeah.
Before I started doing that, I woke up to problems every single day. There's people right now going, dude, that's me. I'm waking up to problems every day. That's because you're not basing everything in gratitude. As soon as you're grateful, you cannot be pissed off. You cannot be upset. You cannot be sad. There's no negative emotions connected to gratitude. So if you literally base everything in gratitude, the second you wake up, it shifts your perspective, and now everything becomes opportunity. And that literally lends itself to that abundance mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where can people learn more about you? Where can they go follow you? This has been a fantastic interview, and you guys need to go back and listen to this again. He's dropped so many bombs over here. This was really, really fantastic. So, where can they go follow you, listen to you, subscribe to your podcast, all that good stuff?
Well, they can find me on Google if they just type in Brad Lea. That's Lea. and then everything that I'm on comes up: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, my website, bradlee.com, all my businesses. So that's the easiest and best way to really find me, because I'm, then you'll see it wherever I am. But I would just say, Instagram, The Real Brad Lee. You can get my
Yes.
book. You can get my book. I wrote a book. You can, go to my website. If you guys are listening, like, hey, I want to make money with this guy, go to my website and click make money with me, and, fill out one of the forms, and one of my people will reach out to you and, get you going. Because again, Rebecca, my whole thing in life is getting the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. Because the reason people are failing in life is because they don't have the right information. And
Absolutely.
so I commend you for your podcast and your book, and congratulations on your successful launch and all the success you've had, because that's what you're doing, is you're giving out that knowledge, and you're getting it and getting it to the people that need it and want it. And man, me and you are on the same mission.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll make sure we put the links to all of his stuff in the show notes as well. And definitely go check him out and follow him, because he will help you. If you're feeling stuck, you don't know where to go financially, go check him out, because he will help you. All right. So thank you so much. This has been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.